I wasn't supposed to be home that night. She'd told me she had to stay late, client dinner, wrap-up meetings, the usual excuses that come with a demanding job. I didn't think twice about it. I had a long shift, was tired, and figured I'd just grab a beer, heat leftovers, and crash early. But a water main burst at the job site. They sent us home. So I came back quietly, without warning. The house was dark when I pulled into the driveway. Not silent, though. There was music playing. Low, but not her kind. Jazz, something expensive and curated. Remember thinking maybe she just wanted to unwind after work. But then I noticed her car wasn't alone in the garage. I didn't recognize the black SUV parked next to it. Still, I wasn't thinking the worst. Not yet. I opened the front door, gently, more out of habit than stealth. Took my boots off, carried them, and walked in. The lights were on in the kitchen. A jacket I didn't recognize hung over the back of a chair. Male, tailored. I stopped at the bottom of the stairs and listened. There were voices upstairs, hers and a man's, no laughter. Just murmurs and something else, something quiet but unmistakable. I took one step up, then another, the wood underfoot creaking in a way it never had when I left in the morning. Halfway up I paused. There was no need to go further. I turned and walked back down. Set my boots beside the door like nothing happened. I didn't slam anything, didn't call out. Just stood in the kitchen for a moment, letting it settle. She said she had to work late. The lie wasn't even the part that hurt the most. It was how casual it all seemed. Like it wasn't the first time. Like they'd done this before and probably would again. That was the moment something inside me just stopped moving. I didn't feel rage, not yet. I didn't feel heartbreak, not in the way I expected. What I felt was a kind of quiet departure from the man I'd been when I left the house that morning. I grabbed my keys, walked back out, closed the door soft behind me, and sat in my truck for a long time. Not driving, not thinking, just staring out through the windshield at nothing in particular. It wasn't about revenge, not then. It wasn't even about confrontation. It was about realizing I'd been living in a story that wasn't mine, that maybe never had been. So I did what I do best. I didn't explode. I didn't accuse. I just started taking mental notes of every detail, every pattern, every false goodbye, because she wanted to lie quietly. I could break her the same way. Quietly, 12 years. That's how long we'd been married. We met when we were young, early 20s, broke but optimistic. She was working 2 part-time jobs and finishing her degree. I was already out in the field, doing shift work, hauling steel in the rain, just trying to stack hours and save for something that felt like a future. We used to laugh at how opposite our worlds were, her with textbooks and internships, me with calluses and sore knees. But we made it work. Somehow we made it work. She got her first full-time job after graduating. We moved into a tiny 1-bedroom apartment over a pizza shop. I remember carrying her up the stairs that first night, both of us sweaty from hauling boxes, too tired to celebrate. But she looked at me like I had handed her the world. I never forgot that look. Over the years, I took on extra shifts when her career needed flexibility. I covered rent when she switched industries. I didn't complain when she wanted to go back for her master's, even though it meant we pushed off buying a house for another 2 years. We split everything down the middle when we could, and when we couldn't, I covered more. She always said we were building together, that everything we did was for us. So I believed her. We weren't flashy, no big vacations, no designer, anything. But we had a rhythm. I came home, she'd ask how the site was, she'd complain about a manager. We'd eat takeout, stream something forgettable, talk about what retirement might look like if we just stayed steady. She always wanted to start her own agency, run things her way, be her own boss. I supported it, even set up a separate account to funnel money toward that dream. What I didn't know was that the man she was building it with wasn't me. She used to say I was her constant, that when the world was chaotic, I was the one thing she could count on. I wore that like armor, believed it meant something. When people asked what made our marriage work, I'd say we respected each other's lanes. We weren't clingy. We gave each other space. I thought that was maturity. Now I wonder if it was just permission. The thing that stings the most isn't that she cheated. It's that she used my trust as cover. All those times she said she had to network late. All those client trips where her phone would be spotty. All the weekends she needed to catch up on proposals. I defended her. Told friends she was grinding. Told myself she was chasing something important. Turns out she was, just not with me. There was a moment last year when we sat on the porch, sipping beers after a long day, and she looked out at the yard and said, "We built this." She said it like she meant it. I remember feeling full, like maybe we were really going to make it, like all the sacrifices, the late nights, the missed holidays, the student loans we fought to pay off, they were worth it. Now, I replay that sentence in my head and it tastes like poison. I know people say betrayal is loud. It's not. It's quiet. It hides in the smallest gestures, in the way she started locking her phone, in how she stopped asking about my day, in how she'd listen with half an ear, nodding like she was already somewhere else. Looking back, I can see the signs. They weren't dramatic, just accumulating. The worst part? I never doubted her. Not once. Not when her hours stretched longer. Not when she stopped wanting to be touched. Not even when she forgot my birthday and said, "You." No, I'm bad with dates. I covered for her in every way a man can, emotionally, financially, spiritually, and she cashed it all in for a man with a title and a corner office, a man who, apparently, didn't have to cover anything. 12 years. Gone in a whisper. I didn't recognize him at first. He was just a voice, low, confident, rehearsed, murmuring something from the upstairs bedroom, while I stood frozen in the hallway. Later, I'd match the voice to the face and the face to the profile. Howard Grant, CEO, married, father of 3, company photo with a Labrador and a lake in the background, Christmas card smile, community fundraiser chair. The kind of man who shakes hands too tightly and makes you feel like you're already behind. He was my wife's boss. I'd heard the name before, of course. She talked about him like he was a mentor, demanding but brilliant. Howard sees the big picture, she'd say. He's building something huge. I remember her once calling him a little old school but not creepy, as if she knew what I was thinking before I could ask. That should have been the first red flag. After I found them, I didn't confront her. I didn't storm into the room or break anything. I just backed away and walked out the door like I'd forgotten something important. Like my body knew this moment was a threshold I couldn't uncross. The betrayal wasn't just about her, it was about how small they both assumed I was. He didn't see me as a threat. Probably thought I was just a steel-toed ghost in the background, a man too tired to notice, a husband too dull to keep up. So I started watching. I dug into his public record, read every article, every post. He was everywhere, TEDx talks, leadership panels, Forbes blurbs about scaling with empathy. All smoke, all projection. But the deeper I looked, the more I saw the hairline cracks. Whispers in employee reviews about inappropriate jokes. Resignations from female staff who left to pursue better alignment. One woman posted a vague comment about boundaries not being respected. HR brushed it all under the rug. I remembered a moment, maybe 6 months back, when my wife came home flushed and quiet. Said she had too much wine at an executive dinner. I asked if everything was okay. She looked away and said, "Just tired." Now I wonder if she was tired of lying, or tired of pretending to be someone she wasn't. Howard wasn't just a man cheating with another man's wife. He was, using his position to rewrite people's stories. Position, power, image, it gave him cover. Made the disgusting look ambitious. Made the unethical look strategic, and the office ate it up. They called him a visionary, applauded his risk-taking. No one questioned why the same women never lasted more than a year on his senior team. No one asked why he never brought his wife to events anymore. But I wasn't part of the office. I had nothing to lose, so I kept looking. It wasn't about revenge. Not yet. It was about understanding the man who had climbed into my home and helped dismantle the life I thought I had. I wasn't going to swing wildly and hope something landed. I was going to learn exactly where to cut. I never asked her any questions. Didn't need to. What I needed was certainty, proof, something that didn't come with excuses or crocodile tears. So I started where anyone would, with the phone bill. A few late-night numbers showed up, always the same. Always after she said she was catching up on reports at the office. I called it once. A disconnected line. Burner. That told me enough to keep going. I had a friend who worked in building, maintenance for her office complex. Old school guy. Retired Marine. Trusted me enough not to ask why when I asked if the lobby cameras still archived footage. They did. A full 30 days worth. He handed me a USB drive and said, "Whatever. It is, don't do anything stupid." I didn't. Instead, I watched as my wife entered the building on weekends in casual clothes, no laptop, always carrying that same oversized purse. And then I saw him, Howard, meeting her by the elevator, hand on her lower back, looking around like a man who knew exactly what he was doing. Receipts came next. I checked our credit card history and found hotel charges billed to her business account, all within 5 miles of the office. She hadn't even bothered to hide it. That's when the switch flipped. No more wondering. No more hoping I was wrong. Now I had facts, and facts were something I could work with. There's a moment when pain turns into purpose. That was me. The morning after I watched the security footage on loop. No rage, no yelling, just a quiet decision. Build the file. I started with her phone. She always left it charging in the kitchen overnight. I waited until she was in the shower and mirrored her text to my laptop using a third-party sync tool. The messages weren't graphic, but they didn't need to be. Last night was perfect, from a contact saved as D. The timestamps matched her hotel stays, screenshots, organized, archived emails were next. She logged in on our shared desktop more than she realized. Her inbox held work exchanges that turned personal fast. I copied them, every thread, every flirtation dressed up as professionalism. Some were encrypted, but not all. The ones that weren't were enough. Then I called a lawyer, quietly. I didn't need a divorce yet, I needed advice. What to preserve, what to say, what not to say. He gave me a checklist and told me to act like nothing had changed. "You get one shot at doing this clean," he said. So that's what I did. I took photos of receipts, printed credit card statements, and started tracking her work calendar against actual GPS pings. Every move she made, I logged. Her smile over breakfast? Filed. Her lies about late meetings? Documented. She thought I was clueless, but I wasn't preparing to confront her. I was preparing to dismantle everything she thought she controlled, one screenshot at a time. At first, I only cared about what he'd done with my wife. But as I kept digging, something shifted. This wasn't just personal anymore. It was systemic. Howard, Mr. CEO, Mr. Family Values, was sloppy. Entitled men usually are. One of the emails I copied from her laptop mentioned a private bonus. It came from his personal Gmail, not the company domain. That raised a flag. I traced it through her expense reports, reimbursements labeled as client development, that matched weekends they spent together. The company was footing the bill for their affair. I started pulling financial records available in public filings. That's when I saw something strange. Recurring consulting payments to a shell LLC based out of a P.O. box. The owner? His cousin, on paper. But the money trail connected right back to Howard. Internal embezzlement disguised as vendor services. It didn't stop there. On a whim, I reached out to an old HR rep who'd left quietly last year. I just asked one question. Did anyone else ever report him? Her reply was immediate. Plenty. All buried, be careful. Now I had something bigger than broken vows. I had misconduct, theft, a paper trail of company money funneled into lies, and my wife had helped cover it. The affair was just the surface. What lay underneath could sink him. I didn't plan to threaten. I planned to expose. Not for revenge. For accountability. And maybe, for the first time in this entire mess, I started to feel something close to control again. I asked for a meeting at his office. Just the three of us, him, my wife, and me. No lawyers, no HR, just clarity. He walked in with that smug little smile, adjusting his cuffs like it was any other Thursday. She looked nervous, unsure of why we were there together. I didn't bother with pleasantries. I placed a sealed envelope on the table and slid it toward him. "You have 30 seconds to read that," I said, "and resign," quietly. He opened it, read the first few lines. His face changed, color drained, posture stiffened. Inside was everything: copies of the hotel receipts, burner phone records, internal emails, and something else. Documentation of a financial discrepancy tied directly to him. "I know what you've been doing," I said. "And now, so does your board." My wife gasped. He didn't look at her, he couldn't. No threats, no raised voices. I stood, straightened my coat, and looked at him one last time. "Consider this your clean exit." Then I turned to her. "We're done." I walked out. Let the silence weigh itself into the room. Because some betrayals deserve rage, but others, they deserve precision. And this time I made sure the damage wasn't just emotional, it was institutional. It didn't take long once the first thread was pulled. The legal letter I had my attorney draft was sent directly to the board, with attachments, screenshots, receipts, timelines. I didn't accuse, I documented. I gave them every reason to investigate without a single emotional word. 3 days later, Howard was temporarily suspended pending internal review. It made headlines by the end of the week. A CEO known for charity dinners and polished speeches, now linked to embezzlement and workplace misconduct. His photo showed up on finance blogs and industry news feeds. Same smile, different story. My wife, she called in sick for 2 days straight. Then HR called her. She was let go for violation of internal policy. No appeal, no severance. She cried on the kitchen floor that night. I didn't reach for her. She tried to talk. Said she never meant for things to get so far. Said it was a mistake. That she still loved me. I didn't argue. I just said, "You should pack a bag." The collapse wasn't loud. It was surgical, cold, clean, every lie untangled, every deception answered by consequence. Howard's family man image dissolved in a sea of headlines. My wife's career vanished overnight. And me? I didn't feel triumphant, I felt done. The kind of done that lets you sleep. Not because justice was loud, but because this time it didn't need to be. I sent one last package, this time anonymously. It went straight to the company's shareholders and legal team. Inside were neatly organized documents, time-stamped records, and a list of potential regulatory violations. No drama, just facts. By the time the divorce finalized, her world was already falling apart. She tried to delay it, begged to talk things through, but there was nothing left to discuss. I'd already moved out. My finances were locked down, my assets protected. She walked away with what she deserved, nothing more and a great deal less than she expected. The company issued a statement, internal restructuring. The boss was quietly removed from public view. A new name took over, and I never heard his spoken again. His social media accounts disappeared. So did hers. Mutual friends called to ask what happened. I said I was fine, that I was moving on, no details, no bitterness, just forward. The thing about betrayal is, it doesn't need revenge. It needs clarity, and once you have that, everything else falls into place. I never shouted, never begged. Just listened, watched, documented. And when the time was right, I let the truth speak for itself. Now I sleep better, eat slower, laugh more, because I'm no longer carrying someone else's secrets, only my peace. Looking back, I never set out to destroy anyone. I just told the truth and let it land where it would. What happened wasn't a moment of rage. It was months of clarity, built one fact at a time. That's the thing about betrayal. It teaches you who you are without needing anyone's permission. They thought silence meant weakness. It didn't. It meant discipline. And that discipline became my edge. I don't think about them anymore. Not with anger. Not with longing. Just with distance. Like a storm that passed. Now I build slower. Smarter. For myself, there's no audience, no applause. Just quiet mornings, clean choices, and space to breathe. I didn't win because they lost. I won because I didn't let them change me. That's the real victory. That's peace.